Awesome. All right, Casey, take us away. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your your journey, your story, all the things.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, for having me. This is always such a beautiful community of women that are high achievers and they're great moms and they're great wives. And so, thanks for having me. I really, really appreciate it. And it's an honor to come share with you guys. So Alex asked me if I would share just kind of about, the luxury market, which is very fun. I'll tell you just a little bit about who my husband and I are so that you can kind of get a picture of the story here, because I think that stories are really important in real estate and we tend to overlook them and we tend to change them sometimes, but I think that there's a lot of power in your story. My husband and I are high school sweethearts. We started dating when we were 14 and 17, never broke up, got married shortly after high school, and we started our family right away. We had dated for 6 years, and so we just dove right in. We lived in an area of California. It's in the central part of California. Do we have any Californians here on the call today? Yay. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Um, Mount Shasta area, you said. Redwood, not Redwood, Mount Shasta.
Mount Shasta, yeah, I-5.
Yeah. So about, let's see, 11 years ago now, my husband and I decided that we needed to change and we were planning to leave California. For a lot of the reasons that people are leaving California today. It's a difficult place to run the rat race and raise a family and all the things. 11 years ago, he was offered a youth pastor job here in Tennessee where we did not know a soul. We didn't know anything about the area. We just knew it was a change of scenery. It's kind of what we were looking for. And so we made the big jump to Tennessee. So I say all of that to say um, we have a very slow and humble start. Kyle was a youth pastor when we moved here. He was making $27,000 a year. And I was a registered nurse, making not too much more than that in the state of Tennessee. So after about a year of living in Tennessee, we decided to go into full-time real estate. So, like I said, my husband was a youth pastor, but what I didn't mention was we kind of flipped homes on the side in California to make up for a little bit of his income. So within a year of being here, Kyle got his real estate license and started the journey, just like many of you are in, um, and dove right into real estate. So after a couple of years, he got pretty busy, and that meant that I had to go get my real estate license and come on board with him. So we have been doing full-time real estate, I would say, for the last 9 years. And we are a husband-wife team. We have one agent on our team. She is wonderful. She's like our right hand. Her name is Jen. Um, and we're small and mighty. So um, we will do probably about $80 million worth of real estate this year. And that would probably be around 60 transactions. So the price point for us has gotten very, very high, but it did not start that way. And so that's what I want to share today is kind of our journey of what that looked like. You heard what our salaries were when we first started here. And today it just looks much different. And so I am happy to share any and all of my tricks with you guys. Anything that I have, I am an open book. So if you, after this call, want to shoot me a question and ask anything, please, please, please feel free to do that. I have a little presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here for a second. All right, let's see if I can figure this out. Okay, can you guys see that? Awesome. Today we're talking about the luxury experience. Is it still showing for you guys? It's not showing for me.
It is showing on my end. And if you wanted to, I don't know how if you, in the lower right-hand side, there's two arrows that kind of point opposite of each other. If you click on that, it
There we
should,
go.
there we go.
Perfect. Okay. Um, so today we're talking about the luxury experience. I would love for this to be a very interactive call, and I know that that can get kind of weird sometimes if we're all speaking up. But what I would love to do to just start is in the group chat right now, if you guys can just drop what you think your average price point is for this last year. Drop it in there. It doesn't have to be over exaggerated. It can be 300,000, it can be $1 million, whatever that is for you guys. Drop that in the chat because I want to do a little exercise here. So, when Kyle and I first started in real estate, our average price point was about 275 to $300,000 a house. There is a lot of margin in the state of Tennessee, and especially in the area that we're in. And I think all of us have seen a lot of growth, right? Since probably 2020, where, price points just continue to climb. Um, that's a grind. It was a really hard grind for us in the beginning with that price point. Because Tennessee covers a lot of area. So you can do a lot of driving, like probably a lot of the areas that you guys live in. And I remember after being in real estate for the first few years, I just woke up one day and was like, gosh, I wonder if we could just start to focus on a little bit higher price point, if that would make a difference for us. And so I just ran the numbers for this last year, and our average price point was at $1.5 million. 1.5 million last year was our average price point. Yay! So exciting.
Good job, Casey. That's awesome.
But thank you so much. I appreciate it. But it was not by accident. And so that's what I want to share with you guys today. Everything was very, very intentional. And although we didn't exactly know what we were doing, we were kind of trending in that right direction. And so that's what I want to share with you guys today. And I want to start by talking about what I believe are the 5 pillars of luxury experience in real estate. So I tried to break this down so that it's really tangible for you, because what I want you to leave with today are actionable steps that you guys can go and take back to your businesses and say, okay, if I want to elevate, my price point in my area, and if I want to retain these clients for life, what are some actionable steps that I can do to be able to do that? So let's go over these 5 pillars. The first one is identity. Who are you? Because you're telling the story, right? Just like I told you guys my story, every one of you has a story to tell. And I think that we don't tell that story enough on social media. The second pillar is focus. And this would be different for every market. So, if I were to tell you who Kyle and I serve in Middle Tennessee or in the city of Franklin, it's people that are relocating here from out of state. We really tend to hone in on the family that's looking to move here, just like who we were, right? Because a lot of times you appeal to the exact person that you are. So that may look different for your area. It may look like military. It may look like, hospitals, physicians, whatever the case may be, but whatever your niche is, focusing on what that is for you. The third pillar is experience. And this would be the actual tangible things that your clients feel while they're going through the process with you. And I will say this, I will get to this slide, and it's really exciting. You'll see a lot of the things that we do with gifts that we give to our clients and whatnot. But you cannot pass go, and you cannot collect $200, like they say in Monopoly, unless you have the basics down. So it's really difficult to focus on giving those little gifts and those little touches during the transaction if the systems on the front end are not fine-tuned. And I know a lot of you guys have those down. For us, we kind of started dabbling in all of it at the same time, and it's just really difficult to do that. So I would encourage you, hear all the things that we do today, and then go back and say, okay, what systems do I need to put in place so that I can make this experience possible? The fourth pillar is going to be memory. How do you want your clients to remember that transaction? And it's really shocking. There are so many clients that I stay in touch with, on a weekly basis, right? Because I have a relationship with these people. Kyle and I are investors, and we have purchased properties with different realtors in different states. And I could not tell you a couple of realtors that helped us purchase investment properties because there's no touch. After the transaction's done, that's it. Case closed. So we're going to talk about what that looks like to stay in your client's life and to become memorable for them. And then the last thing is community. And that is one of my favorite topics. You can see the picture there. That was just of a very small event that we just hosted back for Christmas time, where we rented a pontoon boat on the Cumberland River in downtown Nashville. Those are just some of our clients that were there, but build a community around your clients because that is what the luxury market really wants. So, like I said in the slide, if you can master these pillars, I know for a fact that you can raise your average price point and you can keep these clients for life. So, let's dive into it here. All right. The first pillar, like I said, is identity, and it all starts with who you are. So, this is one of the most difficult and most rewarding parts of building this type of a clientele is really understanding who you are. And I think a lot of times on social media, we can put out this one person that we think we are. But you know what? At the end of the day, we're parents and we like to play basketball and we like to do all these fun and exciting things that we don't necessarily share with our community. So I think the first step is identifying exactly who you are. In every market that you guys are in, it's going to look completely different. We don't have military in our market, but we do have relocations. And so that is what we tend to focus on. But again, that's who we are. So ask yourself that question of who are you the realtor for? Who are you? Like, what do you enjoy doing? Are you telling that story on social media? One of the most powerful videos that I believe that Kyle and I have ever created is just our story of moving to Tennessee. You can look it up on YouTube. That's actually where we have a very large portion of our luxury buyers come in through is from YouTube. And it is the front and center video on our channel. It is called The Magic of Moving to Franklin, Our Story. And it's Kyle and I sitting on a porch swing talking about making this massive move across the country. And we get vulnerable in some areas. I wish we would have kind of dug in a little bit deeper to what we were feeling as we were doing that. But I probably receive about 5 phone calls a week from that specific video. There's only 3,000 views, so you're not going to see these big numbers from us of 100,000 views, 1,000,000 views. We're not the viral type people. But with the luxury buyer, they're looking for something very specific. And if I have 3,000 views that are all really hot buyers, really looking to move to the area, I will take that over 1,000,000 views any day. So I say all of that to say, if you don't have a video of your story or who you are pinned to all the top places of your social media and whatnot, I would definitely start there and tell the story of who you are. All right. The second pillar
Casey,
is,
I have a quick question.
yeah.
For that video, I know that you and your hubby are like partners in the business. For someone that doesn't have their spouse in it, would you still like include that piece of it, or would you just have it you, or what would be your suggestion on that?
Yeah, I would say yes. If your clientele, if what your avatar is a family, pull your husband in, talk about it. Like if it's not, if you are serving a lot of, single, young, living in a metro area, then obviously just you. But yeah, pull in those pieces that they would not normally see on social media and talk about the things that are a little bit, more secretive or more private. Because I do feel like that's the relatable piece that people love to cling on to. So great question. I love that.
Thank you.
All right. Pillar 2 is the focus. And this really goes hand in hand with who you are, right? So are you focusing on, like we talked about, military, families? Are you focused on a particular neighborhood? There is one neighborhood here in our city. It's called West Haven. And it's a master plan community. Does anybody have those master plan communities where it's like you have an elementary school inside of the neighborhood, fire department inside the neighborhood, grocery store inside the neighborhood? Like it's a wild concept. But I say that to say there is a realtor here in Franklin who absolutely dominates that neighborhood. There's probably over 1,000 homes in there, I would guess. And she just absolutely crushes. She has every listing. Every time I bring a buyer into West Haven, I am running up against her because it's her listing. And if that's you, if you guys know an area really well, or a neighborhood really well, or a zip code really well, focus on that. Focus on who that person is and just absolutely create the avatar and focus all of your marketing efforts towards them. Because one thing I found with starting off here in real estate, we didn't know anybody. It wasn't like we grew up with these people and we had a big base of, sphere of influence to go and kind of conjure up. This was meeting people for the first time. It was, our kids going to school, it was soccer, it was church, it was anything that we could get involved in. That was where our network was coming from. But I didn't exactly know who our market was until we could figure out, okay, who are we as a family? We are a young, late 30s couple with 4 kids who are very active, love sports. We are Williamson County people. And so once we began to figure out who we were, that's where all of our marketing efforts were filtered through. And I love being a part of Real for that reason, is because they do such a phenomenal job at teaching you that. A lot of other brokerages, you don't necessarily get that type of training. And so you guys are all a step ahead of the curve. You guys all run super successful businesses, but I think that there's always some fine tuning, even with ages or gender. Like, have you looked at who is watching your videos? I didn't. When I pull that up every month, it's shocking to me. I'm like, okay, this is who I'm appealing to on social media. This is great. This is my avatar. This is who I'm going to market to because this is who's watching my stuff. So focusing on that is important. And I know that all of you guys probably already do a really great job at that. All right. Pillar number 3. This is quite possibly one of my favorite things to do. And I think that this is a huge contributing factor in the success that we have experienced in real estate. And if you guys have not read this book, Unreasonable Hospitality, has anyone read it? Has anyone read this book? No. Oh my gosh.
Yes, it's excellent.
It will change your world. It is truly one of the most impactful books I've ever read. I don't want to give away the story of the book, but I will tell you that this book is all about going above and beyond that expectation that people have of you. And specifically, it talks about a restaurant experience. And in this restaurant experience, they're trying to become this, level 5 Michelin type restaurant. And how do you become that in the restaurant industry when there are so many restaurants across the US? I mean, how do you become that Michelin level? And they talk about anticipating the needs of their guests before they ever arise. And so one of the things that stuck out to me in this book was they talk about the experience all the way throughout dinner, okay? From taking your coat at the door to pulling the chair open to putting the napkin on your lap, giving you time. But the very last part of what they talked about at their dining experience was at a Michelin level restaurant, it's always very awkward whenever, hey, you've eaten all of your meal. Now it's time to pay that really, really high price that you were coming in here and you were going to pay. And so this particular restaurant in New York decided that they were going to, when they dropped off the bill, they were also going to bring a complimentary bottle of champagne at the same time because they didn't want to rush their guest out the door or quickly hurry them out, making them feel like, hey, hurry, we got to get another group in here to eat dinner with us. So it's this dichotomy of handing you the check and saying, hey, it's time to leave, it's time to pay us. But also at the same time, hey, stay a while. Here's a free bottle of champagne on us. Take your time. We want you to have the best experience that you can have. So when you read through the book and you read this example, he really gives this really beautiful example of how to take the transaction out of something that is very transactional. When you go to a restaurant, you know that you are going to pay for food, they are going to provide a service, and you are going to leave with a full belly. It's no different inside real estate. But I think there is a level of expectation on your client's behalf that they know that they're part of a transaction, right? They know they're going to have deadlines to meet. They know there's going to be an inspection and an appraisal, and they know there's going to be a closing day, and they have to clean all these things out of their house. So, part of this experience that people feel when they work with you is, how do I remove the transactional feeling of something that's very transactional? And so, in the next couple of pillars, I'm going to really dive into how we do that, what gifts we give, how we anticipate needs. But I want to just really harp on this book for a minute, because if you have not read it, pick it up on Amazon. It'll change the way that you are with your family, honestly. It's giving without expectation. And honestly, there is a principle of reciprocity that when you give something to your clients that they cannot return or they're not expecting, there is this level of loyalty that you build with that client by giving a gift. I want somebody to answer this question, but when you acquire a client for the first time, when do you give a gift to your client, or do you give a gift to your client?
I
I
gave a
can
gift
answer.
during, oops, sorry. I gave
Oh,
a
no,
gift
go.
during the open house when I showed up for the first open house.
Love it. What do you give when you go to your open house?
I brought a pack of 4 red wines. It was like a tour of Italy wine and a gift basket.
So cute. I love that. What a great thing to leave with your clients.
Thank you.
Um, how about somebody else? When's the first time that you give a gift to your client? And it can be
Some
at a closing day. That's fine.
I
some
take bubbles at my listing appointments.
Listing appointments. Yep, love that.
Mhm.
What do
same.
you take to your listing appointments?
I brought
Bubbles.
anything
Oh, sorry.
from a glassy baby to like a Nordstrom Rack luxury chocolate. I am very specific on where I'm headed and what that gift is.
And honestly, Chelsea, that's why you do a lot of luxury, isn't it?
It
You
helps.
you are, I mean, if you guys don't know Chelsea Kelly, she's up in Washington and she runs a beautiful business where again, you know exactly who you are in your market and you target those people and that's who you serve. And so I am not surprised at all one bit that you take a gift when you meet somebody at the listing appointment. My point is in that is, yeah, like from the moment you meet somebody, there should be a little piece of luxury left with them, because not a lot of other agents are doing that when you first meet somebody. And
Mhm.
so I'm going to move to this pillar 4, where I talk about the surprise and delight, the memory, and I'm going to actually skip one more page over. Kyle and I, a few years ago, heard a conversation from a guy that used to work at the Ritz-Carlton. And it was an incredible, incredible speech that he gave. And he talked about, again, the surprise and delight of what a luxury client absolutely loves and what we love, right? As just humans. When you go into a Ritz-Carlton and you walk up to the bar and you've already checked in and they say, Miss Kelly, how are you doing? Would you like your normal old fashioned this evening? You haven't even shared with them that you drink an old fashioned. But yet somewhere in their system, they know that Chelsea Kelly always orders an old fashioned when she comes up to the bar. It is that level of service that the Ritz-Carlton gives. You know, when they're within a certain amount of feet of somebody, they're instructed that you need to warmly welcome them. And so we started implementing this in our business a few years ago, and I can't tell you just what a massive difference it has made in our business. You can see there on the picture to the right that there's a little thing of champagne bears. That's an under contract gift. That is not the first gift that they get, but what a beautiful little treat that you can send in the mail that doesn't take a lot from you. Um, Anytime someone goes under contract, we send one of those. And the added benefit that I found is that people share these on social media. It is literally a plastic square of champagne bears, but people love them. You can customize it so you can put, your logo, you can put your own little message inside. but clients absolutely love to get these. And the point that I'm making to you guys is from the moment you meet someone, bring them a gift. We have these little chocolates, and I'm going to jump around on a slide for a minute. There's these little chocolates, they're chocolate guitars. It's from a company called Nandy's Candies. And I just thought, gosh, we're in Nashville. What's the play on music that I can kind of add in to our business? And so when we have that initial contact with someone, so for us, when a client is coming here from out of state and they are coming to visit Franklin for the very first time, I am going to figure out what hotel they're in, and I'm going to have one of these waiting on their table in their room with a little note from Kyle and Casey giving them a sweet welcome into Tennessee. It is just that added level of, gosh, I have never had a realtor leave me something in my hotel before, right? I've never had a realtor do X, Y, and Z for me before. So part of that luxury game is what is setting you apart from the realtor down the road who's selling the same type homes, who gives the same quality during the transaction, but what is making you different during that experience? So these are just some of the examples. You can see that I've got that's a little basket that our lead agent Jen has in her car whenever we tour people around through the area. It's just a little bag of snacks and it's got drinks and it looks different every time. But as they're sitting in the back seat driving through, there's just little things for them to snack on as they drive through. Like you had mentioned earlier, going to an open house, we love to bring a candle, a Ritz-Carlton candle to those appointments and just say, hey, we know that you're about to walk into a very stressful time with all these people coming in and out of your home. We wanted to bring you something so that your house smells good so that when you return today, it feels a little bit more like home. And if you know that scent, it's really beautiful. There are a lot of scents that we've used in the past. Anthropologie has a candle called Volcano. I think they're like $20, you guys. It's really nothing major, but it's just the sentiment of giving someone a gift. So we do a lot of this throughout the process. There are these 9 defining moments in real estate for us, but this is going to look different for you depending on your market, how your lead comes in, whether they're a buyer or a seller. We have different gifts for both. I would highly recommend that you implement the surprise and delight part of your business because that's something that sets you apart. I went back just for a second because I want to show this picture of our closing basket stuff. That is super generic, right? Like everything's the same. I don't have to think about it. Does anyone here already have a system like this for closing baskets?
Yes and no. I always see people do so many things, and then if I'm being completely honest, sometimes I look at people's baskets and I'm like, I know that you bought that spatula at the dollar store. Like it is so painful for me to see
Yes.
that. And so I always try to just curate like 2 really good things. There's this candle from Joe Malone that's called Green Tomato. I'm serious, you guys would never buy it online, but it is the most luxurious smell. And then
I'm
I
writing it
repeat
down.
that with a local gift card to like a restaurant or something. But it's mine are very small and specifically curated, but do have some of the same exact things every time.
Chelsea, do you change that for different price points that you sell in?
No,
It's the same for everyone.
yeah. Because
Yeah,
I find that someone that might buy a $350,000 house is going to tell their dad who can afford a lakefront property, and it's all the same. It's not,
absolutely.
I win some and I lose some, and I find that I win more than I lose.
I love that. And it takes just the thought out of it, right? You
Mhm.
know what you're giving every time. The thing that you don't want to do is make this too cumbersome, right?
Mhm.
You have to systematize it. And there are ways that you can kind of customize things, and you'll see things that we've done for our more luxury clients that are a little bit different in a basket. But the whole thing is like take the stress off, right? Like curate it, make it exactly what you want it, but take the stress off and build a system around it. So you can see I've got the 3 moment rule there. Oh, I think I'm drawing on here. The 3 moment rule. The beginning of the process with a client, you want to say, hey, I see you by sending a little gift, dropping something to their hotel, leaving them something at their home, sending them crumble cookies. I have even sent crumble cookies, still send them to this day. You would think that they are the best thing ever. And it's literally on DoorDash. Super easy. Same thing in the middle of the process. Once you hit a milestone, send a little gift, do something small, and let them know that you're still with them in the process. And then, of course, at the end, what happens after that closing basket has been given? Is that it? Is that the final say? I hope not. But that's something that we have to be thinking about with clients if we want to continue to serve them for life. This is totally opposite of what Chelsea said. This is ultra curated. And I used to believe giving that same gift every time was the right way to go about it. The higher and higher and higher the price point we got, I realized I can't do this for a $6.5 million buyer. I can't just give them two little gifts. And so that is something that as you grow in luxury, that's been really interesting to us is, we have this set of buyers. They spent $11 million on homes with us. And he was an MLB player. And I just thought, okay, how can I give them a closing gift that would be really memorable, that wouldn't take too much out of my time, that's really easy and unique to him? So that little picture that you see was $200, which feels like a lot, but it's not for that amount of money. Those are all clippings of baseball cards created to look like his baseball card was when he was in the MLB. I say that to say, I show you this to say, there will be certain situations that you do have to curate things in your business. You can systematize things to the bone, but at the end of the day, there will always be something or someone that comes along that you're like, I got to treat this a little bit differently, right? I will tell you guys a really quick story, but Kyle and I acquired our first client this year that is a $15 million buyer. That is a different level. Whoop, whoop. Yep. It's a different level of buyer. It's a different level of thought process. It's a different level of intentionality. And I'm gonna tell you the story of how they came in because I think it's really powerful. When Kyle and I joined Reel, we joined Reel because we wanted to become the smallest fish in the room. Teach us all the things. We want to be sponges. And Reel has been so phenomenal at just opening up playbooks and saying, here, do this. And so we started to implement a lot of what Tim Macy and Katie Day and everybody from Rev B have talked about. And that is focusing on how to prioritize becoming the number one when people search you on ChatGPT. ChatGPT. Who is looking up realtors on ChatGPT? Well, this $15 million buyer found us on ChatGPT. They looked up who is the number one realtor in Franklin, Tennessee. And hey, we've just been doing what Katie and Tim have been suggesting all this time. And next thing we know, we get an email. And this email is from a buyer in Texas. And it's a really long email. And it says, here's who we are. We're not going to waste your time. We only want to look at 3 homes. Here's why we want to look at them. XYZ. Here's our proof of funds of $15 million. And I'm like, surely this is some, prince that is not real. They're AI generated or something of that nature, because you just don't anticipate that that is how a luxury lead is going to come in, right? Would anybody here think that a $15 million buyer would come in through a ChatGPT search? Because not me. So I reluctantly responded back in this email and I said, thanks so much. We would love to help you. Here's our contact information. Here's where we start in the process. And then about 15 minutes later, bing, second email comes in. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a real person. About 2 hours later, I hop on a phone call with the wife, the nicest woman you could ever meet. It's a real buyer. I've met her. I showed her these 3 homes. We're about to write an offer on one of these properties. And I was just sitting there scratching my head going like, wow, this came in through ChatGPT. And since that point of time, we have had probably about 5 other luxury level buyers come in because of searching ChatGPT. So if you are not optimizing your SEO for ChatGPT specifically, I would highly recommend doing that. The luxury buyer is there. They know that things are trending towards AI and things are trending towards quick and efficient. And that was how they came in. All right. Pillar number 5 is community. And this is one of my favorite things to create experiences for your clients. So when you're first getting in real estate or you have a price point that is very, very average for your local area, how are you going to bring in people that are going to build the base of business that you want to build? We started doing this by client events. And at first, they were the bigger client events. So this is going to be your, a movie at a movie theater. This is going to be pictures in the park where you hire a photographer for your clients. You guys have heard of all these things, right? Pies that you give away for Thanksgiving. What I realized with the luxury buyer and seller are they want a very small community that they can be very open and honest with without feeling bad about the lifestyle that they live. And so Kyle and I started to kind of custom curate these smaller level experiences or events, if you will, where we would invite just kind of a select handful of individuals. And this may be, high net worth individuals. This may be very high influencing individuals. But we started doing things with these people and just starting to create a community inside of there because a lot of them, they love to network and they want to say, hey, who can you introduce me to here? Who can I become friends with that are living the same life that I'm living? And not as an arrogant thing, right? This is because it's really difficult to have a lot of conversations about the things that they do and the revenue that they make whenever not everyone is at that level. So custom curating those experiences is a very large part of building a luxury community. So if you guys are not doing this, I highly recommend it. We've done everything from Kyle did a sticks and bourbon event where he invited probably about 15 men. Your entry in was bringing a bottle of bourbon and they just played virtual golf for a couple of hours. But honestly, it was all about the networking for those individuals. And so if you're not doing that, highly recommend. So I want to open this up for discussion. I want to allow questions. I want to mastermind with you guys to talk about, how are you doing this in your community? What's the goal that you're looking to be at this next year? If you're at 300,000, there is a luxury market in every single area across the United States. It may not be $15 million. It may be 600,000. It may be 800,000. But the whole goal is how do I inch that up purposefully, right, in your business? So there's some questions down here that I want you guys to answer for you individually. And you're more than welcome to answer them here too. But the first one is, what is the level of service that you're giving to your clients right now? If you were to rate yourself like a Michelin restaurant, what would be the number that you would give your business? Is it a 5? Is it a 7? Is it a 9? You can answer this just kind of, internally. And where do you want to be at the end of this year? I look at my business today, and if I would have seen it 5 years ago, I would have said, oh, it's a 10. It is an absolute 10. And now that I'm in it today, I'm like, ugh, I'm probably back down at a 5 again. How do I fine tune all these little things to make it feel less like a transaction and more like an experience? The second question that I have there is your level of service an accurate reflection of what you want your clients to remember? There have been numerous situations in our business where Kyle and I have messed up. There was one in particular, this happened about 6 years ago, where Kyle forgot to write in a $5,000 closing cost credit for our buyer. That's a big deal. Well, what did we do? We ate that $5,000 and said, hey, We made this mistake. We are going to eat this out of our commission. That was all that time ago, but we continue to treat our business the same way. So, is your business today a reflection of what you want your clients to experience, even if you're not at the level that you want to be at tomorrow? That third question there is, in what ways can you systematize great service in your business? We mentioned before that it's easy to just systematize the closing portion of things. Like I know that when I have a buyer or seller that closes, they're going to get a closing basket and they're going to get a meal sent to their house. Can you systematize things in your business, even up to out of that scope of luxury, right? Chelsea, where it's like, I do the same for everyone, but what about that one buyer that comes along that you just have to up the ante a little bit? What I find is when you up that ante, everybody else's ante gets upped. It all changes. It kind of trickles down. So what can you systematize in your business while still curating an experience for your clients? And then the last question is, what are you doing that separates you from other realtors? I didn't go over this in the slides, but for our listings, we provide a cleaning, a sparkle and shine clean for all of our listings. This happens before it goes live on the market, before showings start. You would think that a lot of agents would do that. They don't do that. Find somebody that's going to charge you 150 bucks, 300 bucks, depending on the size of the home, and provide that for your clients to up the ante a little bit. So that is what I have for you guys today. But I would love to open up dialogue, ask questions. We can mastermind around the topic. What are you guys thinking after I
Hey,
shared all of that?
Casey, can I ask you a question about your front end systems? Like when you acquire new buyers, are you feeling like that's all automated in terms of like until they get to you? Like, are you even just things like many chat on Instagram? I always feel like sometimes I look at my front end and I'm like, my flow desk, my mini chat, my Zapier, all these things. And I'm like, God, do I need all of that? Sometimes it is so amazing. And then sometimes I'm like bogged down by all these
Yes,
things that feel so heavy that I don't need all the time.
for sure. I am the worst at those. Like I'm the worst at automating social media
Yeah.
because what I find is like people want the super custom feel. Like they want to reach out and pick up the phone and call me and say, "Hey, can we have a chat for like 15 minutes?"
Hmm.
Yes. So honestly, I don't have a lot of front end social media systems like this,
Hmm.
but it's intentional. Our videographer who runs our YouTube channel, he hates when things are automated. He does not want them to get an automated response back. He wants that text message or that email to come in and for it to be sent to me and for me to start the process because it's that personal touch of
Hmm.
things. And I think there is a system like you run a much bigger social media platform than I do. You probably have a lot more people that are reaching out and touches that are coming out through Instagram. I don't have a lot of leads coming from Instagram. All of mine are coming from YouTube. So they're reaching out a little bit differently, than they would on social media. So I don't know if that answers it. I definitely don't have it nailed down. But I think that there's a fine line between systematizing and custom curating something on the front end.
Yeah, it's interesting, Chelsea. I was talking to my VA the other day about, sending out a message to every single person that like follows me on social media and just being like, so nice to meet you, looking forward to being connected or whatever. And he's like, oh, we can set that up on ManyChat where it automatically responds. And I'm like, but I want it to be curated to like if it's, someone that's local to my area or if it looks like they're maybe in another state or if it's a real estate agent. I don't want it to be automated. So it's super interesting because it's like how do we like offload things but also to like still keep it customized and personal and intentional.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like I want to, in 2026 to clean house and like shut all that stuff down. I mean, I looked at all my numbers last year and I did 7 million in a specific neighborhood that are from clients from like sitting by the pool or a mom at the bus stop. Like it's like
Oh,
this,
I love that.
but you know what I mean? It's not from people saying, view when they get that automated response. Like, and I'm trying hard to not fight that because I'm
Yeah.
like, it seems so much easier to automate it, but it's actually not what people want.
I don't think it is. Like, we've fought this too. It's a bear. Like, it's a bear to figure out. But I go back to like 20% of your time brings 80% of your results. So what exactly are we focusing our 20% of time on? Is it creating social media? Is that the 20%? Or is it responding to people in a custom curated, personalized way that's actually driving the business versus all and it, right? It's a combo of all of the things, but I think we can get really caught up with the stuff that just does not matter. 1 ounce. Put the social media thing out, let it run its course, and then respond really thoughtfully and really personalized to all those people. That's my hot take on it.
Casey, you mentioned that you have someone that's managing your YouTube. Are they like doing the videos, editing them, and uploading them, creating the whole process start to finish, or?
Yes. So we have a full-time videographer, um, the best hire we could have ever made. Um, I'll just be super transparent. We pay him $75,000 a year, which, woo, that's a pretty penny, for a videographer. That man is so crafty at what he does. I don't even have to think about it. He comes up with the script, he posts it, he does everything on YouTube. So I'm not against, hiring like an admin or something of that nature, but if your business is at all trending towards the social media, video side of things, hire a wedding videographer or something that can do this part-time for you, that can do all the uploads and whatnot, because that's his lane and that's what he focuses on every single day. And every day I'm getting call from buyers from YouTube. So something's working. But yes, he does it all for us. He's smarter than
Nice.
us.
How did you find him?
He was actually a past client.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
What was
So
his past experience?
he actually worked, he's actually from your area of Oregon. He
Oh,
worked for a company that shot stock footage, so B-roll footage, and then they would sell that B-roll footage to big companies like Shutterstock. And I had seen his stuff before, and honestly, it wasn't real estate related at all. But that company was shutting down, and someone said, "Hey, why don't you talk to Brandon about this?" And I was like, "Do you think Brandon would videotape people like us?" And he's the right mix of business and creative, because I think it's really easy to find the creative videographer, but it's very difficult to find the business videographer. So
that makes sense.
we
Thank
love
you.
to
I have
hire
a
past clients.
question. Casey, this is so good. I have 5 pages of notes. Yay. Thank you. So good to see you. Okay, so I'm at a very low price point here. I mean, luxury is like 800,000 to 1.2 million. Okay. So my question is, what did you do to break through to the next level? Was it like, did you go do home tours and show them on social media? Was your marketing just geared to a higher price? I mean,
Yes.
what were all the things that you did? And then also, what is your percentage as far as marketing budget that you put towards like events and these client gifts? Or do you have a budget for that?
Yeah. Great question. So what did we do to start breaking into that luxury market? Exactly like what you said. I started marketing to the tier of people that were above me. And I
Mm.
still try to do that today. I'm trying to talk to the people that are up there doing something a little bit bigger than me. So that started out by talking about investment properties. Kyle and I didn't own a single investment property yet, but I knew that the next tier of people did. So we went and researched what a 1031 exchange was and started talking about that on social media. Had I ever done one myself? No, no, I hadn't. But I knew that that's what they were talking about. And so if you can figure out, it doesn't matter what price point, right? You can always shoot to the next tier. Always, always, always. So what does that look like for them? What are they into? I started finding myself trying to break into different circles that again, it was things that I probably wouldn't normally do. Like, Kyle started golfing with people. Hey man, yeah, I'll go out and golf with you. There's a network there that you're just not tapped into yet. So, yes, it was a mix of marketing up and doing things and purposefully networking with individuals that you wouldn't otherwise. Yeah. And then your next question was, what percentage of just kind of money do we put towards that stuff? I would spend all my money there because I know that's where all the money comes back. I know if I drop $10 in that bucket, I'm going to get $100 out every single time. So, not to say that we're not responsible, right? Because Kyle and I are very budget conscious. There is a reason why we have such a high profitability. But if I know that what I'm investing in is going to return to me, I will do it every time. And you know what? In the beginning, we found that we would go to lenders and say, hey, I know we do a lot of business with you. Would you be willing to sponsor this event for $400? Like an ice cream social or something of that nature? Just start getting people together in whatever avenue you can. And it just kind of grows and grows and grows and gets bigger from there.
Carrie is really good at structuring events and getting sponsors. So like Carrie, I would love for you to take a minute and share like what you do. Because when you were sharing it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is opening up a whole new world to me.
Yeah, so I absolutely love client events. I'd hold a client event every week if I could because I love it so much. My husband is the polar opposite. He's like, stick me in the corner. So it's really fun when you see us together, but I make him be extroverted. So one of my favorite events is skating with Santa. I rent out an entire ice skating rink and have Santa. He's behind this beautiful balloon arch and backdrop. And we have crafts, we have gourmet cookies. We actually did two photo ops this time, and then 2 full hours of anyone and everyone that wants to come and ice skate. And I make sure that it's on a not open to the public time frame because they will run out of skates if that's the case because there's two ice rinks. But I make it so that it is 100% our event. Every single one of my vendors pray to be on the list for us. I actually had to open up the whole restaurant because I had too much money from vendors because they were like, we want to do a big backdrop for your event. We want to be sponsored because they know I email blast out all my customers. I put it on every poster I can, like every foot heading to our event. And then we blast it out on social media like crazy. So I literally got to a week before the event and had $2,000 that we had almost over. And it was amazing because I was like, okay, let's do fancy little goodie bags for the kids that Santa gave away. And then we opened up the restaurant. I didn't serve any alcohol, so they paid their own tab. But anyone from our event that went to the restaurant was surprised and got to eat their dinner on us, and they had no idea that was coming. So, I love doing events like that, and I hope that answered your question. Um, let me know.
Yeah. So remind me how you structure the sponsorship piece of it.
We only allow one vendor for each type of business. So one lender, one photographer, one who else do we have? Home warranty, one pool company, one yard spraying company, one termite company. One. And we say a gold, bronze, and silver. And if they pick the gold, then it's completely, they're all over our marketing. They even get email lists. So everybody that attends, they get those email lists. And anyone who wants to be that one sole person knows they're going for that gold sponsorship because it's $1,000 for most events, like the big events. Because I do a lot of mailer media to this. And this year we even did a Santa letter to the kids of every family, just like plugging in the kids' names, and it was sent out through Santa. So that's how we structure it.
You're a rock star, Carrie. Thanks.
Did I see
You know,
someone's doing an Easter event? That
I know.
sounds.
I was just looking at that. I love seeing everybody's super creative things.
Yeah,
Um,
our community here in La Pine, like they don't really have anything for Easter, and there's a lot of it's kind of getting a little all the people from Bend are like priced out and moving to La Pine. So there's a lot of young families, but there's also kind of historically La Pine has been, I guess, like on the like less wealthy kind of poorer side of things. So as the town is like gentrifying, like the population is kind of mixed, but there's not a lot of opportunities for children in general here. And so providing like a community event where they can do like photos with the Easter bunny, maybe like an Easter egg hunt in the snow. I don't know, because it's always like snow on the ground here at that time of year. Maybe like a little craft or a bounce house like inside the Parks and Rec, because the Parks and Rec has like the inside gym and then they have a big field outside. And so I want to do something with that, and trying to kind of figure out what exactly I want to include in the event and then how much it will cost, and then also soliciting vendors for that, or yeah, so like sponsors basically.
My brain is running wild. You could do so many fun things. Oh my goodness. Inside bounce houses.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so fun. And then you could like have eggs sprout out. And then when the kids are bouncing, how funny would that be if all the eggs are like bouncing with them?
Well, they did. So they did. I participated in a tailgates and treats. So it's like the trunk or treat that they do. And so it's businesses only. And they kind of have everyone parked around the perimeter of the field and they decorate their cars and then kids can trick or treat. And like, it was my first year. They didn't tell us what to expect at all. And I ran out. I just did bouncy balls instead of candy, like Halloween themed bouncy balls. I ran out in like an hour. And so there was like, I mean, thousands of kids. So I'm like, there's an opportunity for these community events, like big time. So I want to be the first person, like the realtor in the area that's capitalizing on this and taking advantage of this and like setting this precedent and being the one that does these things. So I want to do something, whatever size it is this year, at least it's providing something, and then kind of grow from there. And then I also want to do like an indoor movie night this summer, and like I'll do tailgates and treats again in the fall, but then also doing like a mini sessions for families and things like that. So I'm just kind of trying to work all those in this year.
that's really cool. Bree, do you do any like micro events at all?
Describe a micro event.
So a micro event would be like I hired somebody to come teach 12 women how to make sourdough bread at my house.
No, but so I was thinking about doing something like that because I did a pies and pints thing last year for my past clients and I had a really good turnout. And then this year I just couldn't fit it in the budget. And then my lender was like, I'm going to be out of town, and didn't really like offer to pay for it regardless. So, we're looking for a new lender.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I really did want to do something, maybe like a Christmas craft or something. I know Alex attended an event where they did like decorated like Christmas mats, like welcome mats and stuff like that. So I would love to do more stuff like that. I actually, what was the thing I sent you guys, Alex? The bubbles, bagels, and bounce house, like for moms and like their kids to do like a little event where it's just like, having brunch and then like a bounce house for the kids and you can just all kind of hang out. So
Totally.
kind of different things like that.
Brie, I was just thinking, like, as Casey mentioned, the sourdough event, you've got your girl in La Pine that makes sourdough bread to promote her business. Would she, host an event if you marketed it and like put it all together?
Possibly. Yeah, I know several women that do. So that could be something that we could do. And I have like, I know the owner of the local like cider tap room, and it's like a big warehouse, like family friendly space. And they have a back room where they like do events and stuff now. So we can like do it in there, and that's super accessible. I don't know if she would charge me for it, but she hasn't charged me for anything in the past. So
yeah. Well, in sourdough, the ingredients are so cost effective.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie, how are you and Casey, like when you guys do like these bigger events, like for Bree, for example, like are you guys collecting any information to like follow up with people after, or how are you guys making sure Or is it just I'm just giving freely and, that law of attraction? I'd be curious to hear your feedback on that.
So I know we always make it quantities limited, even though we can fit 500 people on the ice skating rink. We want it to be FOMO like crazy. So we want everyone to sign up quick, and it's always on a Google form. So they always do their name, phone number, email, and if they invite a friend, that's why it's so important. I've even added address and two questions of, are you looking to stay put? Looking to move in the next couple years, and what excites you about real estate. So it's always a Google form because then you can capture all that information. And I'll be honest, every single one of our events, we ask them to bring their best friend or to bring a family member or to bring someone. I don't care if any of my clients don't show up because they brought all new people. And that's how we fill our database constantly.
I love that. We do things a little bit differently. So we open all of this up to our past clients, right? Because we know that they're going to refer us business. But then we also started opening it up right around our house. So there's about 3 subdivisions that kind of touch our house that are all in price points that we would love to sell in. Our kids go to school with these people. I'm seeing them at the grocery store and I'm seeing them all these places. So we have kind of like a farm system, but we committed to doing that for several years because one year farming just doesn't work. You may get one lead, but it's like you have to build a community around these people. So I built a Facebook group called the Neighbors of Henpeck Lane. I mean, now it's like, a social platform. And anytime we open it up to the community, I just want to make sure I'm getting belly to belly time with these people because a lot of them will just come for free events and that's wonderful. And we love to, serve, but also on the business aspect of things, like, is there a return from doing this? Or am I just spending $10,000 on an Easter egg hunt for nothing? Like we had, gosh, I think it was like 11,000 eggs branded with the Wallace Group logo on those eggs. Because we did a big thing in our backyard. We've got acreage. We invited everyone. And at the end of it, I was like, was that worth it? Like, is that measurable? Can I trace any business back to that event? No, I couldn't. And so, again, if you guys do these events, like stick with the same people that you're doing it with, that at least that works for us,
Well,
maybe
so
different.
that's a good point. So like if I'm going to do, because there's like a Lapine Facebook page, which is a whole thing, but that kind of hits, all of the negative, like all the negative Nellies in the community. So I would probably want to do more targeted with mailers. And so that's a good point of like targeting the areas that I actually want to like transact in. And
Bree,
then also like I
do you
don't know
have
what the
like a
capacity
CRM
is.
that has a target postcard dropper?
I don't.
So we use the CRM called Brivity. And Brivity is, I don't know if you know who Ben Kinney is. He was a Keller Williams agent. He built this tech platform. Well, inside of Brivity, you can actually target particular neighborhoods and send out postcards to just those neighborhoods. You don't have to put in a single address. You just click, if the neighborhood is called Autumn Ridge, I want to drop this postcard to Autumn Ridge. And so
Yeah, so
that,
I do that through EDDM
okay.
essentially, but I mean it's not as targeted as like a subdivision, but it's like an area. So it's
Yeah.
like, kind of like specific areas, and it's like so many homes. Like the one that I had mostly been, so the one that I found through my title company that was converting had the highest turnover attrition rate. I started targeting, it's like 850 homes. And so every mailer is like $500. It's like to print and mail, it's like $500. So I don't know if I just continue targeting that same community because they're the ones that are active in like turning over, or, looking a little bit closer at price point and targeting different areas based on price point instead, or how I would want to do that.
I would say like if you're close to that community, if you want to sell in that community, I would pay the $500, $800 every time. I mean, if you send out 4 mailers a year and they're really good mailers with call to actions or an event tied to it, I think I think that there's going to be return much higher on the other end of that. Like even if you spend $2,000 on mailers, but you get
Yeah.
one listing that's $800,000, it's worth it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's tricky, I know. Find the right recipe.
Right. Yeah. And then, yeah, I'm not sure what the capacity is of like Parks and Rec. So how many people I could actually have like come through that event, but they always do like the Christmas market there and like all these other things there that have tons of people in and out. So I kind of would love to have it like an RSVP situation, like an Eventbrite, where I can actually get a head count of people that are going to be there so I can plan, or maybe have people sign up for like an arrival time for photos because you don't want people like waiting forever and just kind of traffic jamming and all that kind of stuff. So not quite sure how to structure that, but those are all good things to like think about.
Casey, I have a question. Um, for your follow-up for your buyers and your sellers, what would you say is your like 1 to 5 year plan after they've finished the contract and the just whole transaction in the luxury side of things?
Are you asking like how what's the system behind that?
Yes. And do you send them gifts once a year, at their anniversary? Do you do anything special that's different for the luxury versus non-luxury clients or?
I would say I try to grab dinner with every couple every year, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you have you ever heard of a 36 touch? Okay. So it's just basically putting that 36 touch in place. There are a lot of clients that I just grab coffee with through the year. But the luxury clients, it's a dinner. It's a dinner with Kyle and I. It's set up super intentional. And we try to do that every year, along with all of the touches our events bring, as you know, as well. So,
I love that. I
yeah.
love that.
All right. I know we're a little bit over our time. So, Casey, this was so amazing. We're so grateful for your time. If there's like one last question, maybe we can, have you answer it, but otherwise we'll let you go. And does anyone have like one last burning question that they want to ask Casey? No. Um, we're just super appreciative of you and the way that you serve, and the business that you and Kyle have built is really incredible. And we're just super grateful that you took the time to let us have a little insight into what you do.
Well, thank you guys for having me. Sorry to overload you with all the things, but looking forward to getting to know you guys and seeing more of you throughout the year. So, yay. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much. Have a great
Thanks,
day,
Casey.
We'll
guys.
see you guys.